Ladies and gentlemen, the captain with an update on our progress.
easyJet is now Britain's biggest airline,
Hold on to your hats.
carrying 90 million passengers last year.
Nice face. Grumpy face.
But in 2019,
This is going to be challenging, I think.
times have never been tougher for airlines.
FlyBMI blames rising fuel costs for its collapse.
Staying top dog in these turbulent times
You know, better wet pants than a broken neck.
means flying more passengers
Please don't get drunk on board an aircraft again.
on more flights
There's various things we can't predict.
Retard.
I just broke the wiper.
to new destinations.
Wow. Look at that. Doesn't get much better than this.
And that means hiring a new crop of young pilots
We'll just wait for these two ducks. Okay, that's clear. We're clear for takeoff.
who could be flying you to 30,000 feet
Minimum.
sooner than you think
Retard.
over a crucial 6 months.
Relax, 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 relax.
Our cameras have been given unique access inside the cockpit.
Are you from around here?
Bakewell,
Where the
where the tarts come from.
Did they actually?
You're talking to one.
Following all the highs
God, I can hear everybody clapping.
and lows.
I need first aid.
So buckle up, fold your trays away,
Retard.
and prepare for what could be a bumpy ride.
That was not my finest.
Airports across Britain are preparing for another busy day. Nearly 50,000 sleep-deprived easyJet customers are checking into flights for what's known in the aviation industry as the first wave. Every 24 hours, easyJet operates 1,800 flights to one of 158 destinations. And keeping the millions of passengers moving and on time is one very big challenge.
We have a very, very tight schedule. We're hoping that everything's operated within slot and on time.
Any delay in the first wave could have a huge knock-on effect across the entire day's schedule. And, of course, dent the company's profits.
Hi guys, how are you all? You all right?
In Scotland,
How are you? Good, thank you.
Captain Emma Henderson is in charge of the first flight out of Inverness. This is an important airport for early bird commuters.
After you, go on. There's always something. It might be similar aircraft and similar destinations, but there's always something going on that we have to think about. Right, guys, fairly straightforward today, down to Gatwick and then out to Amsterdam and back. Are you all working in the same positions? Yeah, we're going to go in there and get on with that now.
Hello there, good morning.
Captain Emma has a packed 2 days ahead of her. 6 flights, carrying over 900 passengers. First stop, Gatwick.
Morning. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Today, her rookie first officer is Rachel Sylvester Murphy,
Are you ready to see the Cockpit Christmas tree?
who stacked shelves to save up the 120 grand needed for pilot school.
See what there's lights, Brett.
10 minutes till takeoff.
Secondary done. Okay, so
Just the pre-flight checks left to do.
why have we got a flight control slats locked wingtip brake on and a slat system 1 fault?
That doesn't sound great. Time to call up the control center to ask for help.
I've got a little interesting one for you here. So on power up, I've got an amber slats locked and an ECAM warning flight control slats locked wingtip brake on. Any ideas? Sometimes things happen. We're operating really technical electrical aircraft. Sometimes they're going to go wrong. Okay, so I'm not trying to be difficult, but I think with something like flight controls and wingtip brakes, I think I'd rather that was signed off by an engineer. So I will start to think about handling delays and things.
Emma now needs to face the music.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're very warm up on board this easyJet flight to London to Gatwick.
Well, the passengers at least.
So everything was going swimmingly this morning, but as often happens when you think it's going to be a nice easy day out, we have got a small technical defect. If you're sitting on an aircraft and you're expecting to leave at a certain time, and an hour later you're still sitting on the aircraft and you haven't moved and nobody's told you anything, that's going to wind most people up. I needed to get an engineer to come and reset it for me.
Sorry for waking you.
No, it's my job.
30 minutes later, the engineer starts to work his magic on the plane.
Everybody doing all right there? Hi there, sorry for the inconvenience. We'll do our best to get it sorted as soon as we can.
I'll try and explain it to my CEO. I'm meeting with them when I'm missing all of it.
Don't worry, I'll just phone your CEO. What time is your meeting?
12 o'clock.
You'll be there for 12 o'clock, don't worry. We've got to go to Amsterdam and back before then.
We're about 45 minutes late. We'll make it up, I'm sure she will. Put the afterburners on.
Turns out software errors also happen in planes.
Thank you so much, really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the lovely man that's just fixed our aircraft, so please feel free to give him a nice round of applause for getting up so early out of his bed this morning. Thank you. SRS runway.
They're finally clear for takeoff and heading for Gatwick.
When you turn the aircraft onto the runway and set the thrust levers and you're rolling down the runway ready to take off, it is quite awe-inspiring, really.
Positive time.
Gear up. It's thrilling knowing that it's all on you. It's just a thrilling feeling.
That's lovely over there, isn't it?
Beautiful, yeah.
Red sky in the morning, though.
Shepherd's warning.
Yeah.
For your sake, let's hope not.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello again to you from the flight deck. We're cruising at 39,000 feet, making our way down the west side of the country. Apologise for the inconvenience once again of the delay earlier on. It makes it so much easier. We have such lovely passengers who are able to accommodate us, so thank you very much for that. Don't even start.
Despite the hour's delay, a quick turnaround at Gatwick could get them back on track for the rest of today's flights.
Gatwick, easy63, Papa Zulu, low to hold, information, hotel, A390.
easy63, Papa Zulu, Gatwick, good morning. Delay is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you, easy63, Papa Zulu.
10 to 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame, because that's going to make it tight for those people catching trains and things.
Yeah.
Senior First Officer Iris DeCan is also making her approach to Gatwick, on the way to meet her captain for the day.
I have seen his name on my schedule, and for the rest, I have no idea who my captain is.
With over 4,000 pilots on the books, it's not unusual for the crew to meet for the first time at the airport.
I think pilots are a special breed. That's why I'm not dating a pilot, I think. Well, I'm not going to lie, I tried in the past.
Today, Iris's match made in the heavens is Captain Gaurav Advani.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Iris.
Hi,
nice
Iris.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you. A long day today.
A very long day.
Iris and Gaurav will be the first pilots to fly a brand new easyJet route.
Akaba? Is that how you would pronounce it?
Yes, Akaba.
That's right, Iris. It's Aqaba in Jordan, 5.5 hours flying time away.
Good morning, it's the easyJet crew on the Juliet Foxtrot to Akaba.
Although a new lure for tourists, the volatile Middle East still comes with risk.
One other thing I think to mention is when we go in there, there's some landmines sort of being cleared up quite close to the airport.
Landmines.
So you might see some sand maybe coming up on the final stage of the approach, but it's very normal.
Normal day, so yeah, it's normal. And then you breathe landmines exploding.
But before they face the landmines, they need to face something far scarier. The publicity snaps for this inaugural flight.
We're going to be hugging, is that okay?
Oh, I turn into him. Ooh, it's very friendly. go, thanks. Let's go, girls.
Aqaba is one of 150 new routes easyJet has opened up over the last year.
Hi, welcome on board. How are you doing? Good morning. On board. Good morning. All right.
Fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Ready for the day?
And it's the first time both Iris and Gaurav have ever flown this far.
You ready?
Okay, take off.
Check. One hundred down the street. I don't know if you ever look at an aircraft and then just think how crazy is it that actually stays in the air, and that's what makes it quite exciting, that you think like, oh, you do have like quite a big bus under your bum.
A bus with big wings. That's an aeroplane.
We didn't know it was a brand new route for easyJet. It just adds to the excitement, doesn't it?
I think the thing is though about Jordan, you say to people like, what's Jordan? And they say, oh, it's Katie Price.
Do you know, like, what they used those pictures for that they took?
Maybe the newspaper. We had to get really cozy, didn't we? Which was quite weird.
Yeah, it was really awkward. He's like a bit more. Yeah.
I tried not to look at you like directly. I was letting you get closer to me rather than me getting closer to you.
Very smart, very smart.
Ah, the Instagram generation. Back on the ground in Gatwick, easyJet's busiest hub, passengers are gearing up for some winter fun in the snowy sun. Winter's big business for the airline industry, with 50 million Europeans heading for the ski slopes every year. Today, 162 passengers are travelling to Innsbruck in the Austrian Alps. And it's down to Captain Brij Kotecha to get them there safely.
Is this how you make me look cool? I hope so. After 11,000 hours of flying, more than a year of my life up in the air, I still get just as excited.
Surrounded by 8,000 feet high mountains and whipped by gale force winds, Innsbruck Airport is rated Category C. There are only a handful of airports with this rating, marking them out as the hardest places to land in the world.
For me, Innsbruck's the ultimate to land into. From a professional point of view, it's challenging. From a personal point of view, it's really good fun. Not frightening, because we're prepared and we're trained for it. But from the passenger's point of view, sometimes I can actually hear them screaming in the back.
Out of 4,000 pilots, only 140 easyJet captains are qualified to land at Innsbruck.
The weather conditions, there's quite a lot of snow blowing, good for the customers, but obviously makes things a little bit more challenging for us. In terms of threat and aero management today, a go-around could happen.
A go-around is pilot speak for an aborted landing. Supporting Brij is 25-year-old First Officer Nathan Green.
135, 140 mile an hour wind, and it's fun. Have I just tempted fate?
Yeah.
Idiots.
As they fly closer to the Alps, Brij and Nathan must focus on the challenges ahead.
What are the biggest threats today? What do you reckon? Terrain. There is snow on the runway. The priority is getting those tyres gripping well and stopping the aeroplane as quickly as possible. Right, should the unthinkable happen, where would you like to go?
Let's have a look. We've got Brussels behind us. Luxembourg's got a nice long runway, isn't it?
4,000, yeah, that's a nice place to go.
Maybe Cologne or Frankfurt?
Cologne? That's an easyJet route, isn't it? So I have diverted into there with a medical problem once. They were absolutely superb.
Diverting to Cologne would mean easyJet laying on a 7-hour coach ride to Innsbruck for the passengers. But Brij isn't going to let them in on any of his concerns just yet.
This goes for us, Captain. With an update, we're at 35,000 feet, making steady progress. Weather conditions, we've got a few snow showers in the vicinity. Temperature on the ground is -1 degree Celsius. lots of clouds, so I'm afraid you're not going to see too much as we start our descent. Last on the flight deck, a very good afternoon. It's a safe onward journey. Thank you all very much for choosing easyJet. More often than not, you will not see what you want to until the decision point. You can't get it wrong.
It's down to Brij to decide whether it's safe to land.
What's wind again?
Or not.
200 to 280.
But with low visibility,
nothing on my radar.
He can't even make out Innsbruck.
Your adrenaline is going.
Let alone the runway.
What do I do if something goes wrong?
Minimum.
Absolutely nothing.
Just 10 minutes out from Innsbruck in Austria, Captain Brij and First Officer Nathan are making their descent through thick clouds.
Nothing nasty on my radar.
Check.
The airport is classified as Category C, which means it's one of the most challenging places to land in the world.
Flying in and out of Innsbruck does have a higher level of risk. I'll be relying on the First Officer to help identify things that might be out of my peripheral vision.
What's wind again?
200 to 280 degrees 7 knots.
Brij needs the cloud to clear enough so that he can spot 3 vital landmarks in the final seconds. Without the cloud blanket, you can't miss them. First, a group of flats on the east side. Then, a set of strobe lights called the rabbits, which guide them towards the runway. And finally, Brij needs to see the runway itself before he hits.
Minimum.
Aeronautical speak for decision time.
Flat 3. Speed checked. Flaps 3. Next check's at 17 miles.
Flying blind at 150 miles per hour, Brij has to rely on his instruments, training, and instinct to navigate the 8,000-foot high mountains and hefty tailwinds.
Absolutely nothing.
Yes, check.
In your head, I'm thinking, I'm ready to go around now. I'm going to not be able to make this approach.
2,500.
Now only 2,000 feet above ground, Brij has to decide whether it's safe to land or better to abort.
More often than not, in the worst parts of winter, you will not see what you want to until the decision point. And at that point, for me, yeah, your adrenaline is going.
In less than a minute, there'll be no going back.
Flats coming in. Gear down, please.
Gear.
With seconds to spare, the first landmark, the block of flats.
Lovely.
Coming in nicely, got the rabbits. Right.
And then the strobes they call the rabbits. But that runway's still nowhere to be seen. If he doesn't see the runway in the next 10 seconds, he will have to abort.
Minimum.
Continue. Check.
With not a second to spare,
3 whites correcting.
The runway appears.
Boat, you're cleared to land.
Those last few seconds are always intense.
40, 30, 20, retard, retard.
All Brij needs to do now is stop 66 tons of plane before the icy runway runs out.
Not the nicest of days, is it?
No. Still somebody jogging out over there.
Of course.
Cool, thank you very much for your help there. Excellent.
As one might say in aviation speak, nailed it.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks. Bye-bye.
8:50. Gosh, we're nearly an hour late now.
After a bad start to the day, Captain Emma and First Officer Rachel are already an hour behind schedule on the next leg.
Right, take off. Jet.
Flying Gatwick to Amsterdam.
Rachel, you choose first today, because I nicked the toasty yesterday.
It's likely the passengers will be arriving late.
We're going to do our best to get you to Amsterdam. I'm sure you can appreciate on a short flight like this, there's very little time we can make up.
But not all of them seem that bothered.
We don't worry about delays, it just means more drinking time.
Thanks to starting the party long before boarding.
It's about 10 o'clock. This is the, what, 5th one? Been drinking since about 4:30 this morning. A wild one.
"56 minutes late."
Really?
Yeah.
Tower 124, 1225, course line only, 38 Golf Foxtrot, bye. Love you.
Cabin crew, thank you very much. Please prepare the helm for landing.
Minimum.
Impressively, Emma's managed to shave 15 minutes off the delay.
Very good.
A quick turnaround could make all the difference.
Hello, Senior Gate Hotel 5 is still occupied.
Okay, we'll pick up taxiway Bravo to wait for Hotel 5 to become free.
But now another plane has nipped in ahead of them and stolen their parking space.
I wonder how long Amsterdam's going to be occupied for. I bet there's some really cross people now. What, passengers?
Well, can't be helped, can it?
With the passengers stuck on the tarmac,
It's all been a bit of a complicated routing in today.
the sights and sounds of Amsterdam will have to wait.
DC75 Alpha Lima.
DC75 Alpha Lima, go ahead.
Yeah, would you be so kind to continue taxi first right and then left to hold short of Alpha 19?
Because you are so nicely, we'll do that for you, no problem at all. Easy 75 Alpha Lima.
All Emma needs to do is find her way to a new parking space.
Yeah, Echo 5,
Right,
second left on Alpha.
So not this
Alpha
one.
16 approved.
Yeah, so we'll go,
Not this right here.
not this right here, no, next right. So we'll enter our left. Yeah.
No, he's not out there at the taxiway.
Had you missed the right turn, easy?
Sorry, I thought you told us to go straight ahead and then right at Alpha 18 and then back on ourselves.
No, it was the other way around.
Sorry, we completely misunderstood. Easy 75 Alpha Lima, we'll just hold here then.
We will sort it out anyway.
We'll get there eventually. Perhaps we'll start listening to you. I'm so sorry.
So much for making up time. And what's worse, they're now pointing in completely the wrong direction.
I thought it was first right.
Yeah, but where did you want us to go?
First right, come in here, go along there, backtrack
Oh, I
out here and
see.
be back to
I
here,
see,
facing that
okay.
way.
DC75 Alpha Lima, if you can take first right and then circle the L anti-clockwise.
That's clockwise, but anyway. Not, he said anti-clockwise, but we're going right, that's clockwise.
Yeah. Oh well. For him it's anti-clockwise because he's sitting there. Oh no, it's still clockwise, isn't it?
I am right, aren't I?
Yeah.
So to confirm, it's 75 Alpha Lima, turn right here and then back on ourselves, yeah?
Yeah, right here and then left to be sure, heading east again to circle that L over there.
Oh. Oh, okay, so we'll go right here, then left, as you said, easy 75 Alpha Lima, thanks for that.
They're going to think, what is going on here?
They must hate us. That's hilarious.
Back to back, they faced each other, drew their swords and shot each other.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the captain speaking again. We're nearly there. They're really teasing us this morning. So, and I promise you that just because we've got two girls in the flight deck, that's not why we've been all the way around and round the garden.
I couldn't possibly comment.
Cabin crew doors are clear to open.
So, 43 minutes in the air and 30 minutes trying to park.
Goodness me. Right.
Sorry, you're really young for Captain Emma. How are you?
I was hoping you say I was really
You are really young,
I'm really upset.
Have a good flight, you guys.
And you take care. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Easy 8731.
1, 2, 3, 4. Ankara, good morning. Easy 8731, flight level 370 Belgium.
Well done. You'll make an excellent commander.
Oh, go on.
10,000 feet above the Alps, First Officer Iris Decan and Captain Gura Vadwani are at the controls of easyJet's first ever flight to Aqaba in Jordan.
Do you have to fly?
Yes, why do you want to? Why?
I know it's yours, but...
The long flight gives the passengers plenty of time to kick back and relax.
My problem is legroom, so I'm 6'8", which doesn't help. But actually, for once, I've got pretty good legroom here, and they keep coming down with wine, so it's pretty good.
What does your partner do?
He works from home. He's in property.
Oh, okay. So how did you guys meet?
Tinder.
Really?
I just thought I want to go on one Tinder date because I thought Tinder was for, you know, like other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'm going to go on one Tinder date, and that was him. I think you know. Don't you think you know?
I know that there's an instant attraction and love there straight away.
On the other hand, it's also really weird to pick up strangers in bars, right?
That's how I met my wife.
You see, super weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you meet. All relationships can hit some turbulent times.
My goodness. Good thing the seatbelt signs are still on.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it on until we get through all of this.
Yeah. So unstable.
They are now well over halfway through their 5.5-hour flight.
I can give them a bit of a PA as well, just to keep them in the loop.
Let's first have a macaroon. Priorities.
Yeah.
This is the bit I was most interested in. More of a crosswind, isn't it?
It's the second busy day on the run for Captain Emma Henderson. And after yesterday's nightmares, she's hoping for a smooth start for the 740 from Gatwick to Pisa.
Flight times, you've got 1 hour 50, 1 hour 50, 1 hour 30. It's going to be, oh gosh, a massive shear rate. Where's that, 15.4? I don't think I've ever seen one that high. It's basically really, really turbulent.
Oh, okay.
If it gets really bumpy suddenly, I might do a cabin crew take your seats immediately, so just sit down wherever you can. And you might find that passengers are quite scared by that, so we'll just deal with it as best we can.
Hi there, good morning. Hi, good morning, welcome. Sorry.
I've only got the 5th of December database in here. Is yours up to date?
No, I've only got that as well.
Once on board with her 22-year-old First Officer Josh DeMaid, there's yet another problem to deal with.
Our database, our nav database, hasn't been updated.
The maps on the onboard computer are out of date.
We have got the old one and we can't use it because it obviously could be inaccurate. OK, thanks very much. Cheers then. Bye. They're going to have to get someone out to do it.
Okay.
Excellent.
For the second time in 24 hours, Emma's starting the day with a delay.
I'm sorry to tell you, we're going to have to wait for an engineer to come and visit the aircraft this morning. If I could just ask for your patience with that.
But veteran Emma has a trick up her sleeve to distract the passengers.
Perhaps come and visit us in the flight deck if you would like to. And then we can...
Josh, nice to meet you. Hello.
Do you want me to take a picture? Is that okay, please?
Oh, is the engineer here? Hello, how are you doing?
Hello.
In the meantime, I'm going to try and keep the passengers as happy as I can. There you go for Girls' Weekend Away? Yeah, yeah. Like, should I warn Peasy you're coming?
Yeah.
At last, they can now work out where they're going.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have good news for you. The database has now been updated. I'm very sorry for the delay. It's been really lovely to come and speak to some of you. So thank you for being so patient and being such lovely passengers.
And breathe. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Absolutely fine.
It's just about typical, isn't it? So I can't believe that happened.
Over an hour behind schedule, Gatwick gives clearance.
Take off.
Check.
And Captain Emma takes off.
100 knots.
Checked.
Into some rather ominous-looking skies.
easyJet Golf Alpha 16 knots to 40, mate.
So that stays like that, I might have to do that.
Put the survey repellent on.
Stand by level 90, copy.
Cool.
Works really well.
Oh wow, look at that.
Newbie Josh has squirted the windscreen with moisture repellent.
We've never used it before.
No. There we go. First time for everything.
But before he has a chance to try out the other buttons...
Severe turbulence forecast west of a line.
An hour into the flight, they hit the turbulence.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain speaking. I have popped the seatbelt signs on for now because aircraft ahead have reported just some turbulence. It would be safer for you to be sitting down with your seatbelt fastened. But obviously, please make sure that you are safe at all times as you can. Thank you for your patience, and I will speak to you again
Every year, millions of flights are affected by turbulence,
Just check your seatbelt, thank you.
causing 100 injuries to passengers worldwide, mainly to the head and neck.
You're right. Plane won't crash with regards to turbulence. It's not life threatening, so that's what you've been told. That's what we've been told.
And it always pays to come prepared for all eventualities.
Takes the edge off it.
Hold on to your glasses. 150-mile-an-hour winds are now hammering the Airbus.
Cabin crew, take your seats immediately, please.
To avoid the worst bumps, Emma must increase the thrust so the plane can climb above the turbulence.
So we're looking for 81% on the thrust if we need to disconnect it.
Yeah.
It's not so nice now. Maybe what that, I don't like it. Must admit, this turbulence is quite bad, isn't it? It is quite bad, seriously. Yeah, it is quite bad.
Then, at last...
It's really stable at the moment.
There we go.
That is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, really lovely.
After an hour's delay and having ridden out the turbulence, veteran Captain Emma can finally relax.
These are empties.
And focus on briefing young Josh on what not to say to air traffic control.
Going into Amsterdam yesterday, we had to do it orally.
Orally,
and
yeah.
then every time I said that, eventually I smirked.
Why?
I'll tell you later.
Oh, okay.
Probably best you don't.
Lovely landing, Josh.
Thank you.
Lovely landing.
Uh-oh, what will the message say?
1,600 miles away, and now approaching Jordan, Iris and Gurav have just received an alert from easyJet Control Center.
For your information, station manager advises that they intend to provide a water cannon salute as your taxi understands. Woohoo! I never had one, have you?
Oh, no, never.
Oh my goodness.
This salute is a coveted celebration used whenever there is an important airport event.
Hello.
We're getting a water cannon salute. When going on stand, it's my first one.
It's my
Finally,
first one as well, yeah,
some
fine.
acknowledgement. You little bit, nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe they can also throw glitter.
Yeah.
To get some. I love some glitter.
Flight EZY 8731 is now just 40 minutes from touchdown. But before they land, there's still one really important thing they need to agree upon.
Did you guys listen to my PA at all?
Yes.
Do you think I pronounced Aqaba right? Aqaba.
Yeah,
Did
but-
I say Aqaba or did I say Aqaba?
Yeah, but what is it? Is it Aqaba?
I'm not sure.
Mo says it's Aqaba. Yeah.
Aqaba. Aqaba. Okay, I'll try and be more.
Just say it really quickly.
Yeah. Aqaba. 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 Aqaba.
Or you could go Aqaba if you wanted.
Aqaba.
It's like Ocado. You don't say Ocado, you say Ocado.
Yeah.
So it's Aqaba.
Aqaba, dear.
Aqaba. Yeah.
Oh, they're never going to get it. It's Aqaba. Aqaba.
Thank you. Cheers. Are you not having another hot drink?
I'm not as demanding as you.
Oh, no.
No, I will have another
Wait
hot
till you
drink,
get in
but all the
this seat,
caffeine
then
is getting
you'll be demanding all sorts.
Oh, yes.
Our egos grow.
How's your ego?
You have to tell me.
I've seen worse.
Okay.
Not quite the answer Gaurav was hoping for.
$50, $40, $30, $20. Retard. Retard.
Finally, the plane is back on firm ground, and without a landmine in sight.
It's a very dry country, isn't it?
Yeah, about to get much wetter.
Oh, everyone's taking pictures and stuff. Hello.
There it is.
It's like being in the car wash.
After a long 5.5-hour flight, the passengers are desperate to get off the plane, and the crew are ready for a break.
Yay, we're here.
We did it.
We did it.
Well done.
But no rest for the wicked. They've just found out there's a welcoming party of local dignitaries waiting to meet them.
What's your request for assistance?
The welcome has been planned with every attention to detail except one. Where?
Do you have any complaint?
Oh no, no complaint. Just
That's the
informing
thing
you
with
of why we stopped.
communication. He's thinking that we're making a complaint.
Be ready for startup and be ready for reception.
Clearly not here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the airport authorities have asked us to move the aircraft from here, so please do take your seats. We will be putting the seatbelt signs back on.
Oh, look.
They're coming.
Oh, look at him run. Watch him run there.
Ah.
He's like, I'm running, I'm coming. He's like, oh, I'm too old for this.
He probably is.
While the passengers can finally enjoy their holiday,
See you guys.
Bye-bye, take care. Thank you very much.
poor old Iris and Gaurav still have to engage in a little international diplomacy.
I'm the Commissioner for Tourism and Economic Development in Aqaba, in Asiza.
Oh, nice to meet you, sir.
I think it's quite an honor to do an inaugural flight. You feel quite special, more special than you did at the beginning of the day, I think. There were all these important people. We were handed gifts, sea salts. So, I used them. I don't think we will have such enthusiastic people waiting for us in Gatwick. Everyone would just want to get off and home.
There's just another 5.5 hours of flying before Iris and Gaurav can finally clock off.
And tomorrow's another day, I think.
On the other side of the Mediterranean, in Pisa, Captain Emma is also looking forward to getting home. But surprise, surprise, they're already behind schedule.
We've tried to make up some time on the way in here, and we will try and make some time on the way back to Gatwick as well.
And things are only going to get worse. Captain Emma's been called from the flight deck to deal with an urgent problem.
I need first aid.
On the ground in Pisa, northern Italy, Captain Emma Henderson's on the second day of her long shift, which up till now has been plagued by delay after delay after delay.
Is our flight plan still valid? We need to know. I'll just ask them.
That's a good point, actually.
15 minutes behind schedule, Emma's keen to get back on track and home on time.
I've got a hot tub on my deck back in Scotland, and I'll be going in that tonight when I get home. I do like to go and sit and wallow in my hot tub at night, and I'm not even ashamed to admit that.
They're flying back to Gatwick before travelling on to Inverness, where Emma's hot tub awaits.
It is busy, yeah, absolutely.
easyJet allows 30 minutes to turn flights around.
We're part of the team, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Thank you very much.
That's alrighty.
Today, they've done it in just 7 and have got themselves back on schedule.
Yeah, I know. They were actually, it was like a stampede, wasn't it? Hilarious.
But as the 162 passengers board the plane, Captain Emma's been called from the flight deck to deal with an urgent problem. One Italian traveller's claustrophobia has been triggered by the confines of the cabin.
And are you going to London to see some friends? So if you don't go, you won't get to see your friends. So it's only going to be about a 1 hour 45 flight. It's a very short flight, and there's nothing to worry about. I've been flying for a very long time. So can you take some water? I need first aid. It became quite quickly apparent that actually this lady wasn't just nervous. I could just see her eyes roll back in her head, and I knew she was going to collapse. So it's a classic case of passenger fainting into captain's arms. But when somebody collapses, I hadn't really appreciated how heavy they are.
With the poorly passenger now being violently sick, Emma has more than delays on her hands.
I felt very sorry for her, actually, because she wasn't very well.
The passenger is escorted off the plane, but it can't go anywhere until her bags have been unloaded from the hold, which means even more delays for Captain Emma.
Right, I'm so sorry.
No, why are you apologising? If you weren't there, she could have fallen and hurt herself.
Well, yeah.
Anyway.
Ground connected.
Anyway.
Ground connected.
Ground connected.
Oh, okay.
Ground connected.
Okay, we're actually about to request startup. Are we able to do that? Easy 87 Golf Alpha.
Yes, ma'am, but your plan is expired.
Okay, I'll call them. Don't worry. Easy 87 Golf Alpha, thanks.
At the moment, it's not possible.
Okay, no problem. I'll call the company. Thanks for your help.
The flight missed its takeoff slot. So Emma now needs to negotiate a new one with air traffic control.
Yeah, hi there, it's Emma Henderson again.
They're now almost an hour behind schedule.
We're running so late already, and we've had a tech defect and now a medical on board, and we just want to get up to Inverness. Just to let you know that we're going to be ready to go in just about 2 or 3 minutes. So thanks for your patience, and just thought I'd explain to you why you're still waiting. Anyway, she's standing there saying no, no, and I thought she was starting to think about it. And then she started retching, and I was thinking, oh, God. So I got a scarf off her. She was like, oh, oh. And I reached for a sit bag just in time, held it out for her and caught it.
It didn't go over
as
you
it
at all,
splattered,
did it?
no, but it splattered into my hand inside the sick bag, and I was like...
All in a day's work.
Well, it's a good job I've had kids, is all I can say.
Dear.
So, yeah, so poor lady.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. Retard. Retard.
Ground spoilers, reverse green, detail.
Manual brakes.
Checked.
Over the last 2 days, Emma has had to battle electrical faults, turbulence, and a vomiting passenger.
I'm going to get a reputation, aren't I?
Never.
Play with the captain from hell again.
But she has still managed to get all her passengers safely to their destinations and has earned her hot tub reward.
I reckon I'll be in it by about 6 and probably in bed by about 7 tonight.
Next time...
Just to make you aware, we have one gentleman who's a little bit too much to drink.
But please don't get drunk on board an aircraft again.
So, flap system 1 fault. If the other one fails, then it ends up becoming significantly more exciting.
They say now the flight is released.
They are still bullshit.